Hello, Colin Birchall here from Rapid Technologies, and welcome to the Abacore demonstration facility that's just based outside Euston Station, that we bring a lot of our customers in to show not just the great Abacore LED interactive flat panels, but also the Nureva Span system that you see me standing next to. So Nureva Span is getting quite a lot of interest with our customers right now. We've been going up and down the country demonstrating the platform on our desktops and our laptops, but also with the Abacore technology on the move truck, which we've been taking on a road trip up and down the country, where we have one of these solutions on. So what you can see here, just to demonstrate, we have a Nureva Span ideation system, a dual span ideation system we call it, should say, which has two projectors. So these two projectors are shining their image onto this metallic surface, which is actually a write and wipe surface, if you like, with some touch sensors on, thus creating a 6 meter long interactive surface that we can work with basically. So the surface I'm working with here, like I said, is controlled by two modules. We've also got just above us the Nureva HDL 300 conference mic system, which is a great solution for huddle spaces, which maps out a room and then puts into the room 8,192 virtual microphones. So wherever I am in this room, the microphones will pick up. So it's really great for huddle spaces. But let me tell you a little bit more about Nureva ideation. So this is a platform, a collaborative interactive platform that sits on a Windows 10 PC. And as you can see, I can control the surface, and as I'm pulling along, you'll actually see the surface changing. So right now I have about 6 meters of projected space in front of me. I can actually put 4 of these projectors together to create something like a 12 meter space. We can, with the Abacore panels, create a 13 meter plus surface with 8 panels, which will give us 4K instead of up to 1080p that we have with this particular surface that we have here. So think about the real estate concerns that you have in your organisation right now for creating a 12 meter long wall. Now, whilst this is 12 meters, we can go to 12 meters physically, we can actually go anywhere from 12 to 60 meters virtually. So if you think about that, again, 60 meters of wall space is quite hard to find in a business, but it's great for collaborating and getting a lot of content on. And where we see this technology suiting is, and you may not be able to pick this up on camera, so I'd encourage you to arrange a demonstration here or get us in to have a chat with you, is this sort of space where the guy is working in an ideation session and he has post-it notes on the wall, and he has bits of flip charts and bits of policy documents, and they're all stapled to the wall. And that's all well and good because we don't need batteries for that type of technology or power, but it does exist in the analog world. And when it exists in the analog world, that means we can't share it digitally easily with a wider audience, and that's hopefully what Nureva Span will do for your business. So you see here we've got some photos on the span, and if I double click on this one, here's another interesting photo. This is an ideation room where we have post-it notes and we have sheets all over the wall, but guess what? When that room's not in use, it has to be locked away because the information on there could be confidential. It also means that room can't be used for anything else apart from this one meeting. So with something like a digital technology like this, where we're working on a Windows 10 platform, when we're not working on this canvas or the surface, we can switch it off and then maybe use it for something else. We can use it for PowerPoint, spreadsheets, or even another canvas session. Traditionally, what's happening in these spaces in offices right now is that room's being locked or not used again, and then another room has to be used if they want to do another session like this. So again, puts massive pressures on your meeting spaces and your real estate that you have in your organisation. The last photo I want to show, which is another pain point with a lot of our customers, is this image. And this image, if you can't see it, is a guy. Basically, he's gone up, he's seen all these great post-it notes and these flip chart sheets, and he's taken photographs of this to show his colleagues. So he sends these photographs out, they get them, and guess what? They've got an iPhone photo jigsaw puzzle they need to put together. So it's not really a practical thing, and when you're doing that, you're not getting the flow of the ideas as how they are created. So what we've got with ideation, like I said, ideation span, we have this physical 6 meter surface, but it can go up to 60 meters in length. Okay, so as we pan along, you'll see that I've got all our different ideas and they're grouped and things like that. So what we can do here is we can actually add our own content to this very easily. So this wall, we've got 2 projection systems here. Touch projection systems would allow up to 20 people to interact with this wall physically in the room. So if I wanted to add a post-it note, all I have to do is hold my finger on the board, like so, or on the span wall, and add note. So it adds a post-it note for me, and I can do a number of things. I can change the colour of it, I can duplicate it if I wanted to, but what I want to do is put some content on there, and I can put the content in 2 ways. So I can either type it on there, like so, and I've added content to there, so you can see I've added this content post-it note, and I've put that anywhere on our span wall. But I can also write on there as well. So if I wanted to, my content involves a cardboard box. This is my idea for the day, and I think everyone will want one, especially around Christmas. Okay, so we can use different coloured pens and stuff like that. So there you go, I've actually used my post-it note in the traditional form of how we might update and add content to there. So as well as having post-it notes on there, we have things like, if I hold my finger on here, I've got a number of options here. So we can add text. So if I had some text or I wanted to paste some text in there, I can do that very easily. I can also, as well, if I find that I'm running out of space, I can add space to my span very easily. So if I just hold my finger here and say, add some space, it moves all my content along. So in the real world, you'd be peeling a piece of paper off the wall to add this content to here. So what we can do as well, we can actually group our content together so it stays in one place, or we can move it as a group of objects or a group of artifacts. So what I'll do is I'll add a group here. You can see I've got my group on the board there. I can make that as big or small as I want. I can move my artifacts into there, which are post-it notes. I could even potentially use some photographs in there. I can add those in, and then wherever I move that group, it moves the artifacts with it as well. What I can do as well, if I wanted to, using the inking tools in here, I could potentially show relationships between the artifacts, so I could show some sort of flow or organisation within the group itself. So again, same way as how you might work in a traditional ideation space. We've also got in here as well, we've got, if I just add a bit more space here, a bit more canvas space, we've also got in there things like a flip chart, a traditional flip chart. So if I just hold my finger on the board here, press flip chart, you'll see that we've got a flip chart that's come up, and the great thing about this, again, we can double tap it and we can add our notes to it. So if I was to choose any colour I want, so you can see I'm writing it here, or you do have a stylus as well. You can use, if you prefer to use a stylus, which is a more traditional way of doing things. And again, I can actually maybe do some sort of flow diagram here on my my flip chart. And with the flip chart, I can add as many pages as I want on that. So this is page 2, this is page 3. So again, I just flip through those pages like so, very, very straightforward. Okay. But where Span comes into its own is how it's used in a collaborative sense, how it's used from our mobile devices, how it's used from third-party laptops. So right now I'm using an iPhone, I've got an iPhone, and what I've got here is I've logged in on my iPhone, and I've actually got access to this very span that I'm working on. So I could be in a meeting, I could be talking to some colleagues in another part of town or another country, another part of the world, and I can actually access the content on here and potentially interact with it. So you can see I would be working somewhere away from the board, and you can see that I'm moving post-it notes. I can even, for instance, add a post-it note. So what I'm going to do is just add a note, and I'll just say, I'll go with a classic, I'll write something that says, you'll probably recognise this, hello, and if I bring that onto the board, we should see that appearing on the board now, and you can see I can collaborate. Now, probably an iPhone's not a great example of how we do this, because you probably traditionally do this via a tablet or laptop where you can see the contents a lot more clearly. But on the iPhone, obviously, you can zoom in and zoom out of the board, so you can actually see more detail on your phone if you wanted to as well. So you're not limited to just looking at a small section of it. You can zoom in and really get a bit more granular about it. We can as well, at any point, drop into our desktop. So if I was to say, for instance, go onto a web browser, so you can see I'm bringing up Edge here. can drop into here, and if I want to, this is information that's relevant to my session, I can actually capture it. So this could be KPI information, this could be a SAP system that you're accessing via a browser. You can capture that information, and then that is also dumped onto your span. So you can see now, there's the image I've just captured, and I can make that bigger or smaller. If I just grab it here, I can make it bigger or smaller. And in fact, what I can do as well is if I double tap here, I can actually make annotations over it. So I might want to make annotations on this part and this part just to share with colleagues. And remember, colleagues are still seeing this content remotely, whether it be an Apple book, a MacBook or a PC, or on a mobile device like an iPhone or a tablet. Now, I did mention that before, obviously we're collaborating from these mobile devices. What about if we have a situation where we have an audience who come into the room, they're not subscribers to the Span service, because the Span is a subscription-based service, and they want to contribute to the session. Now you can see I'm panning through quite a lot of information on this board. So I'm coming to a point where what I want to do is get some collaboration or some ideas. So right now, you can see there's a group here that we have specifically for people to contribute on, so I'm going to create some space. And what you'll probably notice at the top of the board is actually a web address for people to join this session. So people would type in the web address above, type in the access code, and they could jump onto that session. But if they wanted to as well, they can, using their mobile phone, they could go to their, I'm going to use an iPhone here, I'm going to use the camera on my iPhone. All they have to do to join the session is walk in with their iPhone, point it at the QR code, it prompts them to join the meeting, and what it gives that person is an option here. It will put the access code in for them, it will give them an option, this screen here, to either write in a post-it note or add their photograph. So if I wanted to right now, if I say for instance I want to add a photo to the session, so if I take a photo, so what I'll do is I'll just take a photo of the board in front of me. I've taken that photo, use this photo, and I can share it onto the board. And we should see appearing in this group the photo that I've just added. So there you go, you can see that popped up. We can move that in there, we can make that bigger or smaller, and we can add some ideas onto that. The final thing I wanted to show you about Span, which is really useful, and like I said, the Span will work not only on this projected surface, but we also have it running on interactive flat panels, which will be on another video in the near future, is that we can share screens from remote desktops. So what I mean by that is, what's going to happen, my colleague just off camera right now, he's going to share a screen with me. So I'm just going to go back to the beginning because I think that's where it's going to pop up. So if I just scroll along here, you can see this is quite a long surface we've got. So I'm going to ask my colleague to share a screen from their remote location. You can see it's actually from my login, believe it or not, and you can see it says Colin Virtual is sharing. So if my colleague was to start moving that content and maybe doing a presentation, maybe via a Skype call using the HDL 300 mic system, or via WebEx or any other platform, we can actually now share whatever's on his desktop will be shared onto my screen here. Now, as a user, if I wanted to, what I might want to do is say, do you know what, this is a really great idea. What I'm going to do, I'm going to capture a screenshot of this, and we can refer back to that and work on it later on. So if I just tap the screen here, you'll see we've got the Word document here alongside an image, and what I can do, press the capture button, so I'll try that again, press the capture button, we've captured that, and you can see, if I just, if I say for my colleague to stop sharing, that screen will disappear, and you'll still see that we've got the content that we captured from the session he was running. So that's just been a very brief introduction to Nureva Span. I hope that's been of useful to you. You can find out more information on our website, which is www.rapid.co.uk, and please contact us and we'll be happy to arrange either a demo at your premises, or we'd love to welcome you to our offices in London. Thank you.